SCP-030. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-030 is to be held at Site-17 within a modified humanoid containment cell. Minor adaptations to accommodate for its stature, such as an appropriately scaled workspace and chair, is to be included. Lighting within the cell may be altered upon request of SCP-030 to a maximum of 2,000 lumens via a simple dimmer switch should we need to render SCP-030 inert arise. Staff may extinguish the lighting for the exterior switch and draw blackout currents as necessary. Standard night vision equipment is available for the observation of SCP-030 in its inert state. SCP-030 may request materials for personal research every 90 days. Previous requested materials are to be collected and destroyed prior to delivery of new materials. All materials are to be evaluated and screened by both research and security staff. SCP-030 is to be denied access to any modern scientific journals, and text and fiction is to be restricted to works procedure no later than 1623 CE to preserve the integrity of innate knowledge. Staff wishing to consult with SCP-030 in writing are to place a formal request document number 030-RS/B with the supervising research on duty. All correspondence is to be retained. Staff wishing to consult with SCP. At least 30 days prior to their preferred consultation date. All consultations are to be recorded and retained. Senior research staff may request SCP-030 be temporarily removed from its containment for a maximum 1 hour to provide observational insight into non-restricted materials or events within Site-17. Under no circumstances is SCP-030 to leave the confines of Site-17. Request must be presented in person to state management and security staff at least 30 days prior to the preferred observational release date. All observational release events are to be recorded and retained. SCP-030 is to be equipped with a tracking device, inventory control code #030-17-1. So it's located within Site-17 may be determined precisely at any given time. Description. SCP-030 appears to be a hairless, genderless, gray-toned human, 71 centimeters, 28 inches in height and weighing 12.7 kilograms, 2 Bridgestone in antiquated measure. Its solid blue eyes lack of discernible iris or pupils and resemble small-cut sapphires. SCP-030 possesses an androgynous voice and pronounced English accent not currently identifiable as specific or any modern region. It is able to conserve, read, and write in ancient Greek, Latin, Italian, English, Spanish, and Portuguese, as well as 2 additional languages that have yet to be identified despite SCP-030's insistence that they should be common knowledge. SCP-030 has also demonstrated knowledge of physics, chemistry, anatomy, mathematics, and horticulture, roughly equated to the 17th century CE academic. In addition, SCP-030 has demonstrated knowledge of these topics along research lines do not appear in the historical record. These alternative or entirely unknown approaches to research in the natural science are one source of SCP-030's utility and consultation. SCP-030 remains active while a 15-lumen source of light or greater is within 1.5 meters, 5 feet. In the absence of light, the SCP-030 becomes inert and apparently losing consciousness, showing no outward sign of life. Within 5 to 10 seconds of being re-exposed to light, SCP-030 becomes active once more, failing to come out of light slumber. No matter how long the period of inactivity has been, SCP-030 does not appear to require these periods of inactivity as a human would require sleep, and is exposed to desire to remain active as often as possible. Biopsy analysis of SCP-030 remains inconclusive. While clay is native to the English counties of Kent, Surrey, and Greater London make up the majority of its structure. Traces of Mandragora officinarium, lye, mercury, human blood have been found in each sample taken. SCP-030 has expressed that a full exploratory surgery has determined its working would potentially end its existence. Samples removed from SCP-030 do not regenerate, and sampling is currently discontinued to preserve its integrity. Although SCP-030 can be damaged, it does not appear to feel pain and will simply remold any portion of its anatomy It experiences deformation. Notably, SCP-030 cannot be molded directly by human hands, though many number of tools may be used after its surface. SCP-030 does not respirate, requires no sustenance, and produces no waste, although it does infrequently request a bath. SCP refers to itself as Ariel, and regularly requests that staff do the same. Questions regarding how SCP-030 is created by whom are routinely answered by this seemingly rote statement. I have been asked to forget that bit of information. Terribly sorry. SCP-030 delivers this response in the same tone and cadence each time. Any question regarding its origin or creator are presented. Given its composition and location of origin, the link of the alchemist of Algadath is suspected. SCP-030 was discovered in 612 redacted year during a mandatory archaeology survey within London's Mortlake district. Pending construction of a car park, it was buried approximately 2.7 meters, 9 feet below the street level. Contained in a small stone sarcophagus, the sarcophagus bore no markings and was assumed to be that of a deceased infant, as additional graves were discovered in the survey area. The sarcophagus lid was shattered during the excavation, exposing SCP-030 to daylight. Upon being struck by the sun's rays, SCP-030 rose from its inert state in one of the mild activities within a few seconds, stating "Good afternoon" in the assembled construction team. Member of the Foundation's Radio London Recon Force was summoned within the hours and took the specimen into custody without resistance. The limited number of witnesses were given anesthetics and released. Addendum 1. Document 030-C Security Logs of SCP-030. Fuck. It's blocked for those that are going to be on YouTube. Alright, 50 even. Ooh. It's okay. Item number SCP-031. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-031 is currently contained in the Ryugyong, Korean people, hotel located in the city of Pyongyang, Democratic People's Republic of Korea. As the nation is located, it's currently governed by an authoritarian regime with near complete control of the state and national media. The possibility of information regarding SCP-031 is being released in the world at large is minimal. As said, regime is also cooperating with the Foundation in order to maintain physical security of the state. Foundation personnel are instructed to comply with their directives, so long as they do not interfere with the larger Foundation aims. The structure of Ryugyong Hotel serves to contain SCP-031 within the central spire. 3 secondary spires located at 120-degree intervals from the central pyramid. House Type 9 Heaven's Blade restriction systems squared calibrate the focus of the disruptive energy field towards the central spire. Although unable to prevent physical escape of the SCP-031, the system serves to prevent SCP-31's psychic energies from escaping the construction and affecting off-site personnel. Reclamation of the effects of the hotel currently underway, with local government forces utilizing hazmat-suited personnel armed with flame protectors and chemical sprays to decontaminate areas affected by SCP-031. However, due to the slow pace of progress in SCP-031's defensive capabilities, reclamation of the SCP-031 drastically behind schedule. Personnel who become affected by SCP-031's psychic abilities to be terminated immediately to prevent their biomatter from becoming incorporated into the physical matrix. Description: SCP-031 is an anomalous organism with a mass of over 7,500 kilograms that has infiltrated the ductwork of the maintenance of the infrastructure of the building. Tendrils emerges from the SCP-031's central mass have spread through the hotel's plumbing and ductwork in all 105 floors of the building. At its peak, over 75% of the hotel's 3,000 rooms were contaminated with SCP-031. Reclamation effects from it destroyed a redacted % of initial infestation, but over redacted rooms remain affected by SCP-031. SCP-031 tendrils termination in a pod-like structure, sporocarp, consisting of ovoid structural approximation 2 meters in length with multiple cilia-like structures branching off the main body on some occasional subjects. In the presence of the SCP-031 sporocarp is instead perceive it as an individual the subjects had a close emotional connection to their past. SCP-031, a sporocarp with metamorphosis into the shape of a person perceived to attempt to pursue the subject and remain from the extended period of time. SCP-031's sporocarp is next attempted the physical contact of the targeted individual and their cilia-like structures. Digestive juices will be ejected into the subject's body and their flesh will be consumed and incorporated into SCP-031's body mass. In the meantime, a secondary flagellum and engulfed the subject's cranium and brain, replacing the blood vessels with its own tendrils, which will maintain life support for the affected brain by some undiscovered means. Tendrils would decelerate the subject and transport the subject's cranium back to their buildings ducted where they incorporated into the central mass. Footage taken through surveillance drones indicate there are currently redacted crania in the network of tendril attached to SCP-031 central mass. By all indications, the brains contained within are still alive and may be conscious. History. SCP-031 was recovered in 10/22/1948 following contradictory police records taken after the riot of the City of the Redacted. While several civilians had gathered around a refugee camp professing love and devotion to a cult-like leader whom they referred to the Beloved. Once initial contact and assessment was made, the civilians were pacified through widespread distribution of inhaled tranquilizers and aerosolized anesthetics. MTF Psi-7 was able to recover SCP-031 central mass and move to containment. In its initial form, SCP-031 consisted of a single amorphous entity approximately 75 kilometers in weight, vaguely humanoid shape that had yet manifest the ability to consume and incorporate human biomass into itself for any mind-affecting properties aside from the aspiring, unusual feelings of love and devotion. As of 11/16/1948, SCP-031 has been classified as safe and is contained at Site Redacted. Fortunately, the Korean conflict, which began in 6/25/1950, resulted in the destruction of the Foundation containment site at Pyongyang, and the loss of all anomalies contained within. By the end of the conflict in 1953, all the other anomalies were accounted for, either recovered or confirmed destroyed, aside from SCP-031, which were presumed lost in the wild. Foundation assets first became aware of the re-emerge of the SCP-031 in 1992 with the construction of the Royal Hotel in Pyongyang suddenly halted. Personnel liaising from the local regime confirmed that the anomalous effect resulted in the disappearance of numerous workers employed in the construction of the hotel, and the Foundation Mobile Task Force was dispatched in the investigation. All members of the MTF were subsequently lost in action. The site was locked down and declared all off-limits. All work from Royal Hotel ceased over 16 years, following the installation of Heaven's Blade restriction systems at the secondary spires. 2008 increased infiltration of SCP-031. The building's infrastructure resulted in the possibility of all discovery of outside persons. The local regime immediately ordered the windows to be installed and the structural hide in the existence of SCP-031 from all others, resulting in loss of redacted. More construction workers. Unfortunately, this was perceived as a resumption of construction of the building, resulting in the expectation that the structure would actually be completed open to the public in the future. Reclamation of efforts commenced within the year, utilizing flame and solvent projecting equipment to destroy the SCP-031 tendrils and sporocarps. Each team accompanied by a political offense assigned with termination any personnel who became assimilated with SCP-031. As of the current date, reclamation efforts are still underway. Foundation personnel are continuing to liaise in local regime and monitor progress that is slow and steady. Appendix 1. Excerpts from RAISA email service. From RAISA Associate Director Eleanor Jones to Records Office 2201. Subject: Incomplete Special Containment Procedures Files for SCP-031. Team: I have an issue that needs immediate clarification. I have the Ryuyong Hotel as the location of the mind-altering steel in the Proto-Afro-Aesthetic Culture Group. I have to see if the same location as the brain-stealing flesh network, and those are two objects related to all this. Tell us some kind of DPRK containment facility. If so, we should put that into the object special containment procedure files. From Records Office 2201. To RAISA, Associate Director Eleanor Jones. Free incomplete special containment procedures file of SCP-031. Eleanor. As far as my team can figure, there doesn't appear to be a link between the two objects. In fact, I'm getting conflicting reports from the containment teams regarding whether or not either of these objects actually exist. The 1427 team is insisting the hotel be a site for the Stelio and that there are no brain-eating flesh networks there, and that DPRK government is part of the containment procedure. Then I have the team for SCP-031 insisting that DPRK government's involvement is purely political motivated, i.e. we don't want to get involved as long as they're taking care of it. There's no such thing as a mind-affecting steel located within the building, which is concerning given that there's two mind-affecting anomalies within the same space, and two teams, two separate stories here. Possible Eastern Samoth race situation, Gwen. Conflicting reports, reply. Okay, someone needs to get to the bottom of this. We can't have a useful database with this blatant contradictory information. Make your first priority to resolve this. Reply. Eleanor, will do. Entered into the tracker as 000-0031-F997Z. The sister ticket entered at 001-1427-F99ZX. Gwen. Team, can I get an update on this issue? Eleanor, my apologies, I guess it wasn't clear that further updates would be sent out through the tracker system, gathering information and assessing the situation. We'll keep you informed, Gwen. Team, it's been 3 days. Can it please get a requested update, or at least a deadline by when we'll have this issue resolved? Eleanor, stated in tracker update 22 on this ticket, we found that the problem is more complicated than we expected, requiring us to physically send a person from HQ over to Pyongyang investigation. It's taken us some time to get through that North Korean red tape, totalitarian governments, am I right? To get the paperwork done to assign Jenny's responsibilities while she's gone. Gwen. What's the holdup? Team, it's been 2 weeks. Why has there been no update on this issue? This is a highly time-sensitive issue, and your lack of progress is extremely disappointing. We need to get this resolved before Maria has to step up. Eleanor, I can assume that per your instructions, resolving this issue has been a top priority. We've cross-referenced between the documentation, and the only discrepancy appears to be the fact that the discrepancies, as in all the documentation for one project is internally consistent, and all documentation for the second project is internally consistent. It's only when you put them together that things don't make sense. We tried talking to the project leaders in both teams, but neither of them seemed to know the other existence. The other tried having them look up the other team's SCP file in the system. They can read it just fine, but it doesn't make sense to them. SCP-031 team has no record of 1427 on site and vice versa. We thought there might be some kind of space-time anomaly dimensions going on, so we had a member of our team try to meet up at the same place as the Ryugang Hotel outside of the front entrance. They were not able to find each other, despite confirming that they were both in the same place at the same time. Photographs with timestamps attached. We then had the two team members try to meet up at a location outside of the hotel. They were able to meet up just fine. When they tried to return to the hotel together, they lost track of each other, ended up not being able to find each other. Tried sending Jenny over to Pyongyang investigation was a pain in the ass and given the vice restrictions into North Korea. They weren't able to meet with both teams simultaneously, but they were to meet up each team one by one. Both teams gave their tour to the containment facility and every time seemed to be in order. 31 team showed them the reclaimed rooms of the cleanup teams, while 1471 showed them the location of the steel. Neither team was able to allow direct contact with the anomaly because of the containment procedures, but they were able to confirm its existence through remote cameras. DPRK team for 31 had no idea that there was existence of any DPRK assets being used in containment 1427 and vice versa. They may not be too surprised given the information controls in this country. To make things even worse, Jenny got a call from EU and me from the KR branch asking what the hell the RAISA staff member is doing in the city. She contacted them, and as far as the KR is concerned, we do not had any assets in the Ryugang Hotel. Jenny went so far as the EU and me to take her to the hotel and show her around a bit. She got there, she couldn't find any trace of SCP-031, 1427, or the teams involved with either. So in conclusion, there were 3 weeks of hard work to include from the evidence one of the following must be true. SCP-031 exists and SCP-1427 does not. SCP-1427 exists and SCP-031 does not. Both SCP-1427 and SCP-031 exist. There's an anomaly of the Ryuyong Hotel preventing either team from knowing but the other by proving that the other exists. Either SCP-031 or SCP-1427 exists, and there's an anomaly in the Ryuyong Hotel, creating the impression that exists in the RAISA Control Center. But the KR branch staff are not affected. Although both of SCP-031 and SCP-1427 may or may not exist, and the KR branches are under mind-affecting compulsions, and they do not know or were under a compulsion that it does. None of the above may be true simultaneously due to the multiple worlds theory. Parallel universes and timey-wimey fuckery shit, and you have any idea what we fucking do to fucking fix that shit I've got. Go ahead. Subject: New directives. Hello Team 1. Effective immediately, Gwen Avery Kirkpatrick has been relieved of her duties as the project lead of Records Office 2201. 2. All Records Office 2201 staff are now to make a resolution on ticket 000-0031-F77ZX and 001-1427-F99ZX. Their top priority. No other work on any of their projects is continued until the issue is resolved. Subject: Redacted. A fond farewell to other updates. Good afternoon, RAISA staff. Thank you again for your hard work. Today's email will be a short one. The 314 update of the SCULT has been updated snapshots 2207-D. Please remind the team leads to log into the test instance and confirm proper functionality. Send any bug reports to the Scuttle team as soon as possible. We know that this involves taking time out of your day, initial task, but the sooner we complete the wide scale stress test, the sooner we can roll out the new version and put some fears to rest. I'm sad to announce that Eleanor has chosen to retire due to health concerns. This announcement came as a surprise to me as well due to the sudden nature of her health crisis. She was unable to say goodbye to us before being transferred to Redacted Hospital, where I understand she is convalescing nicely. Please expect a follow-up email with a link to the crowdfunding page and going away gift for her, as well as an address to where you can send cards, gifts, and other well wishes until we can appoint a new AD to take over her projects. We will temporarily be splitting up the teams between the several different existing ADS. Expect an announcement on the new table of the organization by noon GMT. Please take a moment during your next weekly team meeting to go over section 22-B, reporting inconsistencies in documents on your handbook for your staff. Make sure that everyone knows that proper procedures to follow if and when you end up with an information anomaly. Maria. Footnotes. North Korea. A locally manufactured version of psionic field disruptor. Initial estimates were that SCP-031 Central Core could be claimed by 1989, but as of 2021 efforts are still ongoing. 2/27/2021. 1 hour, 9 minutes, 30 seconds in. SCP-032. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-032 is to be housed in an Automated Containment Unit 535/15. Direct contact with SCP-032 is to be restricted to research relevant tasks only. Interviews, if deemed necessary, are to be carried out using the unit's remote communication array. While SCP-032's presence is not directly harmful to the human body, exposure is to be limited to periods of 12 hours or less due to the adverse effects of most beneficiary microorganisms. SCP-032 is not to be exposed to any biological material not refined or otherwise tempered by humanity, with an emphasis on non-human living entities. For a full list of classifications, see document 032-RCL. SCP-032 neither requires nor requested substance of other forms of comfort. SCP-032 is a Type F imperfect external resemblance, internally inconsistent human simulacrum. Currently unknown origins, is composed to an outer shell of pigmented silicone 5.5 millimeters thick, various plastic fiber polyamers. The outward appearance of the Caucasian woman nearing the third decade of her life. SCP-032's interior and composed entirely of liquid refined oil, lacking any skeletal or muscle structure. Despite this, SCP-032 is capable of locomotion and speech, and SCP-032 is capable of maintaining an illusion of humanity at a moderate distance but becomes unconvincing at a closer range, causing mild discomfort in most observers. The effect has been deemed non-anomalous despite apparently causing a mild discomfort in most observers. This effect has been deemed non-anomalous despite apparently possessing full realized recognition ability. SCP-032 claims that there are no sapient acting only as an intermediary instrumental as creators. The Foundation has not been able to verify or refute this claim as of yet. SCP-032 possesses extreme adverse effects to any biological entry in its close vicinity not created, willfully influenced, manipulated, or by similarly related humanity. While the exact nature of this effect varies, SCP-032 presence inevitably causes the severe and irreparable damage. Its ability to any living organism to exchange and or use energy, wild flora loses its ability to photosynthesize or otherwise produce or consume energy fauna used for respiratory or digestive systems. Consider this applies to microorganisms as well. Though SCP-032 effects seem to favor the damage of the reproductive systems instead, it's hypothesized that the symbiotic relationship some microorganisms have to humanity is the reason for the discrepancies. SCP-032 was discovered sitting on a doorstep of Inter-Compound Foundation site near Slovakia. When questioned by Foundation personnel security, SCP-032 explained its anomalous effects and claimed it was to be stored. Surveillance footage showed no record at the time of its arrival. It is not yet known how SCP-032 came to known site, redacted location, or approach it without being spotted. When asked if its reason for seeking Foundation custody of SCP-032, replied that it was in command of the creator, seeking indefinite storage until claimed.